Hello folks, Bulletproof here, and today I'd like to bring you a matchup between Dredge, the generic Magic Online deck list, and Bant Eldrazi. I do like this matchup quite a bit because it's actually sort of interactive, and it's not only about siding in anti-hate and siding in hate cards from the Bant Eldrazi's perspective. It's actually could be slowing down to a point where the matchup plays out kind of as a mid-range on mid-range sort of game. So yeah, and I have in reserve quite a few modern matchups versus style matches, so tune up for those. A couple more with Dredge against some decks like generic Junt deck and against Affinity, and then I have Abzan Company against Elf Ball, the Azuri version, and also against Grixis Control. And sometimes the builds are not the ones I would actually use myself, but I would talk about that kind of stuff in each tape as well, just discussing possible card choices and stuff like this and how to improve the matchup. So I was pretty fortunate to start here mounting into Neonate, so I can actually, dredge something. And I'm against Bant Eldrazi, and I think this is before sideboarding. That means that I have a pretty good chance of actually going bananas here. So dredging the Tron, so milling 6. Here you see already Narcomoeba, hit another dredger, milling Reunion, that's kinda annoying. No amalgams or bloodgasts, so that's a bit unfortunate, but still, I'm off to the races here. He's just going force into Noble, or what is it? No, it's Steerings, I think, yeah. Steering, so he's looking at top 5. Let's see what he's gonna get here. I don't think he had any really good choices here. This is Spellskite Footnotes here, I think. He might be looking at the Reshaper. Basically, he would be able to cast it if he has a Eldrazi Temple in his hand. So that's like next turn play. Pretty fine, I guess. Trades with Amalgams gives him more gas, and even if the Reshaper gonna flip into a Noble, that's okay. And yeah, I do like the tendency of the Bant Eldrazi actually playing 1 extra mana dork, so they are now playing 5 with 1 bird. So I think I trashed the Troll, hit the Conflagrate, I think, some more Dredgers, hit an Narcomoeba, so there is an Amalgam trigger, bringing 1 back, and then I think I have a second land. I hope I do. Yes, indeed I do. I have a salvage, so I guess I hit the Bloodghast here, it seems, if I'm reaching out for the graveyard or not. That's interesting. I thought about playing a salvage so that maybe next turn I can start hard casting imps and stuff like this, so that I can basically fizzle whatever he is doing. Okay, I hit the Bloodghasts, but the Amalgam is still gonna trigger. He goes to 19. I have quite a good board position already. So that's pretty good. So yeah, on the play, game 1 is it's really hard to lose. It's really hard to lose, but it's possible if you have very unfortunate dredge flips and you have very bad mulligans and stuff like that. Well, turn 2 strings is not that great, I suppose, because I don't think he can develop anything. In addition to this turn, okay, he gets a temple, but well, that's not gonna It's like one turn too late. If you would have drawn it naturally this turn, then I think he maybe would be able to catch up, but as it stands, things are too nasty for him already. So he's debating about just temple tapped, no, untapped. So casting a mana dark here, I guess. Or just another steerings. Can't quite see what he has. Maybe he's just sandbagging a path to exile. That's like way too obvious. But I think the path here is a bit too late. So, well, he will just cast it on the upkeep, I guess. I suppose there is no reason to do this now. Not really. So, yeah, but the amalgam is a definite target for this. Should have placed it somewhere further away, like this, for example, so that I don't get confused, or my opponents don't get confused and stuff like this, so it's just, this way it's more clear. Okay, this build only had 2 basics in it, just 2 mountains, that's it. Or, I don't know, is that a, well, anyways, at the original PTQ I played, the list that only had 2 mountains as the basics. Because that forest in some builds, I don't really think it's necessary. Okay, Dredge and Imp, I think, because both trolls are in my hand. But I do have a Conflagrate in the bin. So I hit another Anarch Amoeba, but no Amalgams. And no Bloodghasts, I think. I don't have... Oh yeah, I have a forest here. Okay, so this is a... the Finnish national team, like, build, kind of, that I would later change for my taste a little. Yeah, just hardcasting Imp. I don't think whatever he plays at this point is gonna matter. He could go like Footnotes here, but then whatever, I don't care. I have Narcomoebas that are flying, Imp that is flying, Bloodghast that is gonna come back, or something. I don't know what he's trying to dig for. If it would be post-Cyber Games, then at least he would be able to maybe hit Rest in Peace and cast it, so to kind of fizzle my late action. But now I don't think that was correct. I think he should have gone just like Temple and Footnotes here. Well, he could go Reshaper, but that doesn't really change anything here. Footnotes here would have been much better, I think. Just something that's not gonna trade with Cast and not gonna trade with Amalgam, for example. And it's something that will require me to discard really a bunch for the Conflagrate. But maybe that's why he played Reshaper, because I have Conflagrate anyway. So yeah, this particular build here, and I think in then later tapes, what's actually different here is that you have a basic forest in the deck, then you have 4 loams, then I think it had at least 1 lightning axe main, and I think I still had 1 tormenting voice here as another like flux card, and then my sideboard is full of different things, but it has like random 1 decay, things like that, bazookas, bazooka box, ghost quarter, stuff like that, things of that nature. Flame jab. So yeah, it was almost like the version the Finns played at the World Magic Cup, with the exception that there are no ley lines there in the sideboard. And it's actually crazy what's better. Of course, you definitely need to get ready for opposing ley lines, but it's such a weird sub games when you play mirror match. So there are arguments to play ley lines yourself in the sideboard and not to play them. This one didn't have them, but at the RPTQ I did play them, just to be safe. And it did matter in the mirror, actually, surprisingly. Although, maybe in a big tournament, you might want to have bazookas instead. It's hard to say. So each has pros and cons. I'll talk about that later. Okay, he's just gonna draw a smasher from the reshaper, configure it for something, kill the reshaper, something to face, and then attack. He's down to 2, and there's no way he's coming back from this. It's not like he has a Breath of God in here. Plus, I can always just dredge Loam and get lands back and get back Bloodghasts and attack with haste because he's at 2. So moving on to the next game. Well, we're sideboarding, and I am gonna explain sideboarding as well. I can talk a few more things about the mirror. Well, the Eldrazi deck definitely wants the cage, rest in peace, explosives. What else? I think that's roughly about it. Pretty much. You could maybe bring some denials, so to counter those reunions. I actually think it's an okay plan. So yeah, explosives for sure, because there are quite a few twos to destroy with it. He brought the Lions in? Really? Yeah, I would bring denial. I don't know, like, what he's thinking of. It can also, like, counter-conflagrate, which is really annoying. Well, some test partners are better than nothing, and just because, even though it's a good player, but he was lacking some experience in the matchups. I don't know about cutting Smasher, perhaps that's correct, but Smasher into Smasher, when you have some form of hate out, could basically cut the amount of time that is available for me to draw into a claim or something like that. So definitely bringing probably some grudges or some claims, something like decays. Lightning Axe is good, I think. Kills whatever he has, including like Drowner of Hope, for example, which could be a 9 at times, like it was, for example, in the last game of the quarterfinals at the World Magic Cup. So things of that nature. Generally take out some one-offs. In this matchup it's okay obviously to take out some life from the lumps, probably 2. Don't think I would cut any conflagrates. They're just too good. So 1 of Neonate, 1 of Looting maybe, something like this. You don't need to bring too many cards, I think, but yeah, you could bring quite a few technically. A couple axes, decay, some claims or grudges. It's hard to say what you're gonna bring in. Most likely you put claims first before any grudges, because you don't know what you're gonna have. But they do run rest in pigs, but not that many. Well, decay still covers it, for example. And it's good that you can flashback the grudge, for example, but you can flashback it with a cage in play, for example. But you can grudge explosives before returning back a bunch of guys. So that's a thing. But it's not gonna come up all too often. So, yeah, rest in peace is just probably much worse than the cage, even though the cage switches off flashbacks. That means it's cutting off the opportunities for you to flashback looting to find an answer, for example. But that's not gonna actually happen anytime soon. Well, it is gonna happen if your opponent hate card of choice is a Leyline of the Void, so then you can do that. And at the original RPTQ I did misplay like that because, I don't know, everything that I was preparing for and what was occupying my mind was just to play against or around those ley lines of the Void and siding in accordingly, and sometimes, yeah, I would just totally space out and flashback looting with Cajun player, things like that. Or sometimes I would forget to discard with the looting because I'm so used to just drawing cards and not discarding them. And also, you kind of get used to reunion as well, so it's this kind of ponder slash brainstorm kind of spacing out thing. And also because there are so many things to consider and play around and think about. But yeah, so the benefits of siding, having leylands of your own for the mirror match is that if you have it to the starter, then it fizzles all their early developments right away. The drawback of the Bazooka Bog is that it could be just too late. They could have already all the stuff in play, and then there's not much you can do. So there is that. But you can technically try to dig for it to find it because of the Life from the Loam and get it back, and because of dredging and etc. And it's just a land, so it's convenient in that sense. That it doesn't take a spell slot, so you can side out some lands actually for the Bazooka Bog, for example, and not dissolve your deck too much, for instance, unlike with ley lines. But yeah, you're definitely going to side in claims in the mirror just because you need to hedge against possible ley lines anyway, and it's not like you can just loot them away, those extra claims, but it's better to be on the safe side, even though it might end up a totally dead card. But sometimes if you, let's say, it goes to a third game, and then in the second one you didn't see any ley lines and you saw a big portion of your opponent's deck, then that's what I did at the regional PTQ, just took out the claims for game 3 because I didn't see any ley lines and I didn't want to have a dead card. I am gonna put the phone with the life totals to the lower part of the screen so that you can actually see it properly. So this is after Cyberton. I think he sideboarded Ron. I actually think that's something he could have considered to taken out, was the maybe a 1 or 2 mimics, and then what was it? Some reshapers too, and then he, I think, should have brought in some stubborn denials. The good part about them is that it's just cost 1, so if you have a blue source turn 1 somehow, that's probably like a Yevamaya coast or something. There are not that many that you could have in turn 1. Well, I think you do play like a breeding pool or something, and maybe some fetches in the deck, but not that many. But still, sometimes you could play it on turn 1 and counter your opponent's reunion or something, so it's really huge, or your opponent's looting, for example. What I did was cast the looting. What did I discard? I think a Bloodgust in the land or something. So it's not going spectacular for me just yet. So he chose to cast Steerings here. Cyber definitely gets much better. And see, so he got a breeding pool, and if he would have, boarded in Stubborn Denial, I would have been in a trouble. Okay, it was a loam. Okay, it was a loam in the land. Dredge the loam, hit a flank imp, troll in the I don't know, Lightning Axe or Conflagrate, can't quite distinguish here. Could have been one of the more limited arts of the Tormenting Voice or something. But I think it's a Neonade. Hard to see from this angle. So that's a loam, I think. We shall see. Or Reunion. No, it's Reunion. If I'm preparing to pitch two like this. See, I could pitch a land in the loam, because then I can possibly trash the loam. Of course, I'm gonna be quite fizzled if he plays a reap next turn, but now with the Reunion, I maybe can spill out something before he gets to exile my graveyard or have a cage out. It's Dredge and the Troll as a replacement for the first row. Hit an Amalgam, but nothing else spectacular. Dredge and another Troll. Life Imp. Land. Loam. Narcomoeba, that's awesome, so that means something jumps out, and at least one Amalgam jumps out at the end. Dredge and an Imp. So hoping that more stuff I could have that's gonna jump out. I hope I still dredge just 5 and not 6 here. Okay, these are in my hand. I don't think I played the land just yet. No, he was on the play, so I did play land number 2 here. Also, another point to notice, I don't like the black-red fastland in this deck because you can't fetch it, and I do sometimes want to have more than one fetchable black source. If I happen to mill the Blood Crypt, that's a very crucial point. I think a lot of people oversee or do not consider. And then I do like to have a Steam Vents in the deck, so that's what I did for the RPTQ. After this playtest sessions, add the Steam Vents like in the winning Greece the deck that won the World Cup, so that you can actually hardcast the Amoebas and Amalgams. And one guy at the RPTQ played even went deeper. Even played some blue-red fastlands and played some Easy Charms and some other counter spells, I don't know, like Denials or Spell Pierce. And what else? I think that was it for the blue splash. So he had the proper blue splash in the deck. I kinda like it. Could matter quite a bit. And yes, Scorched Devil is the staple now, replacing Rally of the Peasants. So yeah, just swinging with the team. He just has a Displacer and nothing else really going on, so pretty sad for him to not draw any real hate cards. So I'm stomping him quite a bit. Engineered Explosives next turn would be pretty good for him, I suppose. I still have Amalgams, and then just start hardcasting Imps and stuff like this. And I could always, dredge the loam and cast it and get some lands and then conflagrate away some of his blockers, for example. So yeah, he took some damage. Okay, he hit the cage here, but that's a bit too late. And yeah, imagine if he would have had the Stumber Denial this game. It would just be so So good for him. But now any hate is kinda too late. Though he can still stabilize if he would have had something like explosives into cage or something like this. That would be pretty good. But rest in peace would be much better here, I think. Because then I can't dredge imps. Or just, you know, in a couple turns start hard casting grave trolls, which are gonna be pretty huge here. He can, of course, I don't know, cast a cage and then blink something. But the problem is that I have flyers, and that's kind of annoying. Okay, he has explosives for 2. That's kind of alright. And then maybe with the temple he can cast the Drowner of Hope next turn. But that might be too late. And then unless he would cast a cage real quick, then I could flashback Conflagrate and kill everything. I mean, displace surrender tokens and just continue bashing. Dredging the imp, I hit an Archamoeba. That's okay, but it's not gonna trigger anything. I mean, amalgams. And it's gonna die anyway to explosives. Well, I have lands in hand, so I definitely should attack, and then he's probably gonna be tempted to, you know, crack the explosives. And he does exactly that. But I have amalgams and imps out there, hitting as well. And that's a thing. I think that's 2 amalgams and an imp. He decides to take it all. I don't really mind that. Okay, because no hate here, flashbacking the looting here, and dredging actually one of the looms here, because I guess my plan is just next turn to finish him off with a Conflagrate unless he has a rest in peace or something. Well, or cage. Cage also works. But then I have kinda lethal, so he would probably have to blink something or block something. Okay, ghasts are coming back. And a couple more amalgams coming back at my end. It's probably okay to do this now, I suppose. It's not like he has good sweepers. Explosives like only killing part of my team. So yeah, he's giving up. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Basically, I think I gave you some insight for this matchup, and a bit about, I talked about the mirror as well. So you're gonna see Dredge against Johns soon once I'll process the tapes, and then Dredge against what was it, Affinity, and then Half Ball against Abzan Company, and then Abzan Company against Grixis Control. So leave your concerns or just some notes in the comments below if you want. Don't forget to subscribe on. Well, I'll see you next time. Goodbye folks, until the next sale.